Good morning. Since we've started harvest, I'm not going for my morning runs with the dogs, so I'm trying to burn a little bit of energy. There was a surprisingly minimal amount of dew overnight, so we may be able to start cutting by 10 or 11 o'clock today. These are a 3-5 bean behind the main farm. They look fairly close, but there's some really green pockets out there. They probably need another few days before they'd even cut. Not that we could even get to them anytime soon anyways. Let's go take a quick look at the drapers, see if they need any servicing. Katie's combine's parked right here on the filter strip, and Dad's combine's about a quarter of a mile away to the northeast where we're cutting today. Pretty much every morning we do an inspection of the cutter bar. We want to make sure that there's no broken sickle sections, which happens pretty regularly, or guards that the sickles push against when they cut. Looks like this draper's in fairly good shape, although we only cut 60 acres total yesterday, and Dad's combine probably did the majority of that. It also appears that maybe there was a little more dew than I was noticing first thing this morning, so 10 o'clock may be a little ambitious. This could be another nooner. Katie's combine was over there. Dad's combine is up there somewhere. I'm fairly confused by the status of this head right here because I thought we had a broken guard. I didn't realize that it was not put back together correctly. It's supposed to go a double guard, a single guard, a double guard, a single guard, and it looks like someone put a double, a single, and a single, so it's all out of whack. I guess you'll take that up with the guy who serviced the heads this fall before we started. Couldn't have been me. Other than the assembly issue, there's nothing wrong with this head at all, which is actually rather surprising. Just because I don't have anything better to do right now, I'm going to change this one. It's just getting a little bit knackered up there. Not a big deal, but since I got some time, I'll fix it. You don't technically have to pull the guard to change the sickle, but it's a lot easier if you do. Your other option is just to go back there and keep spinning the belt till it lines up correctly. I don't like doing all that extra work, and that's how my dad does it, so you know I can't do anything the same as how he does it. Out with the old, in with the new. It's like brushing your teeth. Actually, no, it's more like getting a pair of dentures. Those beans actually look phenomenal. I thought this hilly stuff north of the low-lying fertile ground was going to be poor, but it looks like it could be throwing some monster yields. Oil check. More than plenty. This is what the sample's looking like right now. Definitely still some green pods in there. Average moisture though, by the end of the night last night was running sub 13%. If you wait for them all to be perfect, they'll be too dry. I've only got about 30 acres to finish up here. Some of you may know that area right there. That's Lakeland College. It's a very prestigious institute here south of Mattoon. Has a really good agriculture program. We've got to cut a few small fields here, and then we're probably going to be moving back west closer to home. Yeah. Stems aren't that tough, but the pods are definitely a little bit. Those ones are fairly dry already.
Getting close.
That's what I thought. Try them in an hour.
Let's cut.
You want to try to start that truck?
Yeah, I guess we can. Set an auger.
While we're waiting on the beans to dry a little bit, we're going to go ahead and do some logistical preparations. Once we get the field we're on now cut, we may start storing some beans here at our farm in this north bin. So Dad and I are going to go ahead and set an auger.
Good? Put it down a little bit, Jeff.
But air in those tires, they probably roll better.
Can you put air in them? Okay. We can go back with it too. Yeah. Today we've got an episode of Will It Start? Someone in the area was interested in this old Ford grain truck we've had sitting in the shed and trying to see if we can get it to start. Dad's putting a new battery in right now. The auger's set to the bin for our next field. The truck did not start. Dad thinks it needs new fuel filters and probably some fresh diesel fuel. And we're gonna go cut a sample. Oh, would you look at that? 12% moisture. I told him that we should have been cutting these things at 9 o'clock, but he wanted to wait. Time to hit the ground running. What are the chances that the first time I film the combine, he plugs it with a rock? Did it come out? It's your cutter bar! Something wrong with the cutter bar somewhere.
Looks like it bent.
Well, there's your problem right there.
Where?
You got a steel bar stuck in between your teeth. Got a hammer?
Go put it in gear and back it up or something.
I'm gonna try to spin it up. Is that helping? That's helping. Dad's been cutting for 30 minutes, other than that snafu, and Katie's just firing up her combine for the morning. This isn't a very large field. We're almost finished up though.
You're supposed to bring that dad-type cart to Chamberlain.
Head to the next field. I'm not completely empty. I've got 90 bushels. That was a 36-acre field, so let's say that adds 2.5 bushels, maybe 3 bushels to the total. Those beans, which were relatively dry other than a few wet spots we blended off, made 71, 72 on the higher ground, which isn't bad. Truth be told, I was expecting that north, higher, lighter, rolling field to perform even poorer than the south field because it was so dry this year. But looks like I'm surprised on this one, and positively so. There were definitely some spots out there that were extremely poor, 30 to 40 bushel beans, where the soil just did not fare well without water. For the most part though, the other ones performed okay. Just like I said in the last video, I think we were 1 or 2 rains away from phenomenal beans, even without rains in June. We could have been cutting 80 or 90 bushel beans if we got another couple inches in August. We're cutting beans and our neighbors are baling some alfalfa with their fancy Fendt tractor. I told you folks, there's going to be more and more of those things around the countryside. People love Fendt. We're headed a mile west of the main farm to cut the same exact variety of soybeans planted about a week earlier. We'll see how they do. Grain cart guy always making the combines wait. Dust and the fact that these beans were planted earlier than the ones we cut first makes me speculate that these are plenty dry to take to the elevator for now. What are they testing so far, Dad?
11 to 15.
Sounds about perfect. These beans really don't look half bad. Given our growing season, I don't know if a 70 bushel average makes me happy or still leaves me a little disappointed, because 70's become rather underwhelming after growing it for year after year. On our soils, I'd like to see 80 to 90, but we just didn't get the rains. Oh yeah, oh, they're plenty dry, like a cashew. I'd say 11, 12%. We're gonna keep sending these to the elevator. I think they're not extending their hours yet. I have advocated that we don't start filling that bin from this farm till the elevator closes. Why not keep taking it in there? We've got more beans to cut than we have bin space we allocate for soybeans, so might as well get ahead of the curve. Not a lot of farmers cutting yet, so it's nice when there's no line. We'll keep hammering them in, and then once they shut down tonight, we might be able to fill the bin a little bit. Halfway done with this field. Not a good sign though. Dad popped the shields up on his combine, pulled out of the through he was on, and drove to the end, so hopefully he's not broke down. He just took off to get a blower to clean the area above the rotor off. He was concerned because there's a fairly large buildup of this very fine plant material. Although that's not uncommon after running all season, we did clean these back off before we started, so he's checking to make sure there's not a leak somewhere, a hole in the rotor assembly. I really don't know what the issue could be, but it's hard to even diagnose it when you can't see through all of the plant material. Even if there's not a major issue, that becomes a fire hazard, especially with how dry it is. If that gets hot in there, whether it be a bearing, a belt, anything possible could happen, ultimately causing a fire on this machine. So I think he's going to try and get that addressed sooner rather than later. He'll have to get a blower, and Jeff's coming back with a semi, and I'd like to get one last load to the elevator, so I got to catch Katie because that'll give me enough to load a truck, and he should be able to get back there in a short amount of time. Never mind, Jeff just radioed me and said that the elevator is planning on staying open until 6 o'clock tonight, giving us another hour and a half to get trucks to the elevator. So although I am going to keep this operation moving that direction, that doesn't mean that I gotta hurry and get this load out the door in the next 30 seconds. I told him that the backpack blower seemed a little unnecessary, but that's what he chose to bring. Bar none, best part of farming right here. Doing it with your family. Our cab's getting a little fuller over time. Used to just be Allie and I. Combine almost had to stop because of you, Lenny. I'll cut you some slack. It's your first day this year. Allie, Lenny, and baby Graham just took off. It's always a blast having them in the cab, but it does get a little tight and it makes it kind of hard to film. So getting close to having this field wrapped up. Just a few more rounds here in the heart of the field and we should be done. bit of the field left. I do feel fairly confident in saying that these Pioneer 31A73Es, which is the same bean we cut over this morning and yesterday, are going to make about the same, low 70s-ish, which is surprising, like I said earlier, in good and bad ways. Dad gets started on another field. I gotta load a truck, unload the combine onto the grain cart because it's full, and we'll end up that direction at some point. Oh yes, that's a lot of beans on the cart. To be specific, that's not a lot of beans in general. Relative to the size of the cart, that's a lot of beans. I know some of you guys out there have 2,500 bushel carts that holds twice what this thing will, so leave me alone. There's a lot of stuff crammed into one place right now, which is always a recipe for disaster. I doubt we cut too much longer, maybe just fill the last truck. That's where we're headed though, where Dad's making a dust. We're just west of our main farm. It's over there. Everything in this field went through Rebar cart, 92 acres of those Pioneer 31A73s. Says they made 72 bushels an acre dry. Didn't get docked on a single load at the elevator because they are in fact dry, like I just said. That's okay. 72 is hard to complain about in today's economy. Look bone dry, almost as if we should have been cutting them 4 or 5 days ago. It's tough to say that because there's still so many green stems. Popping right open. Pretty good bean size. Oh yeah, wow. Heck, those might be sub 10%. Those could be 9. If they're that dry, we might as well just shut down for the night and start earlier in the morning. Get them when they're 13 or 14. Do a little screen grab from the S780, running 10 to 11% right there. The yield is a little bit lower starting the field. I think some of that is that the combine's adjusting to the different variety of soybeans. These are an Asgrow 33XF3. The seed size is a little bit larger than the last field. That does have a pretty drastic effect on yield, especially in soybeans. So I think as it adjusts, these may kind of bump up into that low 70 range, or it could be completely wrong. We'll see what unfolds out here. It's probably going to about wrap the night up for us. The bigger 780 combine can't hardly make it 2 full days of harvesting without needing to refuel. Home base is a mile up the road, so that's just out the Draper in the field. He's gonna go fill up tonight or tomorrow morning, and I imagine Katie would do the same, although I don't know. I just remembered before we moved to that last field, Katie actually stopped in home and got some fuel, so she doesn't need to do that. Give you a quick logistical recap on the day. We started up about 10:30 or so right here on the field where we were at the end of the day yesterday. Got that done by 12:30ish. Zipped our way back closer to the home farm, cut this 90 acres, and then started on this 57. Not the most productive day, but fields like this are what really add to your productivity. You get into the big 90 acre plus fields. You're not spending a bunch of time moving. There's no obstacles in the field. It's easy peasy. So decent day. When we get into bigger fields, we can get more done. Seeing as these beans are 9 or 10%, maybe we can start a little bit earlier tomorrow as well. That's one of the considerations about soybean harvest, is you can't just turn the key and go when you wake up like when you're picking corn. Gotta wait for that dew to lift, and you have to have your soybean plants dry down so they'll test at the elevator. And equally important is that they thresh through the machine appropriately. The dogs and the kids, they're always excited to see me. Today's episode of Harvesting is winding down. As always, everyone, I greatly appreciate every single one of you continuing to tune in and support the channel. Your viewership means the world to me. I'll catch you all in the next episode. Until then, make sure you like the video if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you want to see more, and comment down below if you have any questions. You know I love to talk about farming. Have a great day, everyone. Peace!